Okay, so we're here at BCB's Media Day, the relaunch for the new website. I'm joined by one of BCB's prospects, James Griffiths. James, great to have you down. Appreciate you taking your time to come down here and being part of an important time for BCB and a new launch for the website. Great to have you with us. Now, the only thing I wanted to talk about first of all, we talked a lot about your nickname, the Baggie Boy, the connection with West Brom. We're in Wolverhampton. How does it feel being in Wolverhampton right now?
It's brilliant. Treading on a white turf, yeah.
Now, you've had 6 fights. We talked off camera about the progression that you've been making and the training and things you've been putting in. You've been with BCB throughout those times. How have you found being under the BCB banner and training in the gym as well, like you do?
I love it. I love being under BCB. We've got amazing stable, haven't we? The lads coming through are unbelievable as well. And just look at the progression that we've got now. You know what I mean? You've got Ty, Liam, everyone's booming. And hopefully we can all add to it, you know what I mean, in the coming years. So it's just plodding on at the minute.
And you talk about plodding. Obviously, you've been fighting very frequently today. One of the busiest boxers in the area, and I know that you've got potentially a little bit of a gap to your next out. But how are you finding the training, keeping busy? And I know you're working full time as well, so living life as a pro, but also having to deal with the real world situations of working.
I'd be lying if I said it was easy, because it ain't. Like the training, it's hard. I give it everything, and like over the past 12 months. I've put everything into this, and like it's only purely just progressing, you know, like keeping the fights going. I don't really ever switch off from thinking about the fighting ever, even like when I'm out of camp. Like I'll get away, I'm on holiday, all I can think about is the gym, and it's sort of like I'm still learning to try and stimulate that, you know what I mean, that time off. But yeah, see how we go. The next 12 months I'll be back in the gym, so back to the grind again.
And you've been matched tricky, is how I'd word it. You've been against guys who are very durable. They know what they're doing. They're not necessarily guys that throw a huge amount of punches back, and you're having to really kind of think yourself through the fights. How are you finding that experience? Because that is so different to, say, sparring or your fights before you turned over.
The lads have faced, like, a couple of them, don't get me wrong, I've just had to be really busy with them and make it look a bit more interesting, I'd say, you know what I mean, because they ain't really through a lot. And then I've had a couple and I've been pretty wary of them, especially like the last one, that Jordan Granham. He was a good amateur, you know what I mean, he was a really good amateur, and like, I'm sure he's beat a few lads in it, and he's a tough lad, so I was pretty wary of him going into it, thinking he's probably going to come for this. But I don't know, you're trying for it all, don't you? Like, you're sparring with like the best lads, like the world level fighters that you're sparring with, so you've got to like sort of back yourself anyway, regardless of who you're against. So you can put me in with anyone over 4 rounds and I will back myself to give it a good go. Doesn't matter who it is in the world, you know what I mean? So, but that's the tricky thing about these 4-round fights as well. You don't know, it can go anyway, can't it? You know what I mean? So you have just got to give it all, and but I'm looking forward to stepping it up now. Really am.
Well, that's my next question was going to be, I know that we talked again a little bit off air, that step up to the 6s, the 8s, and then eventually the title fights, is that in your near future that you think, is that realistic what you want to be happening soon?
Yeah, of course. I think everyone's dream is to be in them big fights, and then like the longer rounds, and you know what I mean, it gets the crowd going as well. I think it's a lot more interesting, you know, to see where a fighter's going to be when they're on that level. So get me on them 6s now, and then we can push on through that. But obviously it's all taking its course time and time, and I've pressed on this before about my age and like wanting to, you know, in my head feeling like I need to rush the process, and I say it wrong sometimes. I don't mean to like rush the whole thing, but you know, I've got 6 fights in. I look like I'm rushing fights out, but I'm not. I'm just learning on the job, and I didn't have a lot of experience as an amateur. Well, I didn't really have any, and so this is my experience. You know what I mean? So going on to the 6s now, hopefully I'll show my worth going forward and looking for them title fights next year and onwards.
And for those fans that come out and support you, when will we next see you out in the ring next, hopefully?
It's looking like October, that's what I've been told. So yeah, that's the one we're ready for now.
So we're looking forward to seeing that fight number 7 already. It's mad. I've said to some of the guys I spoke to today that these early fights do seem to fly by.
Yeah,
Much
yeah.
you might not feel it when you're in the ring, but certainly
Yeah,
outside you do. And hopefully onto a big second half of the year and a big 2025 for you.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Paul.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks, James.
Thank you very much, mate.